You are listening to The Bo's Knows, a podcast about education where teachers, students, staff, and parents can share their stories. And I'm your host, Mr. Bose. And listeners of The Bo's Knows, we have a first for The Bo's Knows podcast. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning of the recording of this podcast, so you are going to join this podcast already in motion, which is unfortunate because there was some great conversation that happened in the beginning, but it was something that can't be recreated, so you're just going to have to take my word for it. But we still have a good podcast for you, so please enjoy the QI Roberts PTO officers and members.
Treasurer at the school, so she automatically became the she was the bookkeeper, so she automatically became the treasurer, I believe. So anyway, so we started and I got introduced. Dina had been here already for quite some time with her boys being a little bit older than my children. So she, in my opinion, showed me the ropes of who to talk to for this and, you know, how to plan something and who to speak to regarding it, and then the dances and doing a dance contract and so on and so forth. And so that first year, she kind of, I always say she taught me everything that I learned and everything I know how to do here at the school as far as PTO. And then it just grew from there and flourished and just continued to be part of it. And then Dina she just decided that she wanted to do other things and pursue other things. And she's like, okay, here you go. And so here we are. It's been 6 years now. And I love it. I love the PTO. I love being at the school. I love working with the people that I get to work with. I just enjoy it. I get a lot of satisfaction. I feel a lot of gratitude when I do things here, and I feel like I think all of us do. I can't speak for everyone, but just from the people that I get to work with here, it is very clear that we all choose to be here and do this because we love the school, we love giving back to the school, and we love the students and the staff here. And I know for me, I'm extremely grateful that my children have been able to get their high school education here with the staff that we have. So I think that kind of explains it in a nutshell, right? The beginnings of the PTO. As far as what we do, I mean, and you guys have heard me say this at the senior banquet or the senior awards ceremony, we are a volunteer organization that enhances and enriches the education of the students here outside the classroom. We work on the dances, we work on the student or the teacher staff appreciation lunches. We really just try to be an extension outside the classroom and really provide a fun experience here. So.
And boost morale.
I was going to
You
say,
know, when you feed people,
Yes.
that's a big deal. And then Teacher Appreciation Week, all the goodies, we hope it just kind of
trickles down.
keeps those teachers going and keeps them in a good mood and
Lets them know that they're appreciated.
Yeah,
that
like everyone
we
needs
notice.
that,
Yes,
right.
we notice how hard they work and the countless hours that you guys put in, and there's not enough ways for us to be able to appreciate and show you guys just how great we think you guys are. So yes.
I appreciate me a good hospitality cart.
yes.
They always seem to come around on the longest days, and I was like, ooh, a good Coke and a snack sounds fantastic.
Yeah, happy teacher, happy student, right? Hopefully.
So that kind of took care of the next couple of questions I had. So PTO supports outside, the dances are kind of your key fundraiser for your activities, but do you have, is there a long-term goal for PTO that eventually we'd love to do this thing, or do you think what you're currently doing is, obviously things get better, but is what you think you're meant to be doing with PTO?
Does anybody want to chime in? I can chime in. Go ahead.
Well, I think so. The first couple of years, I came to like the first couple meetings, both years, and then I had other commitments and I couldn't stick with it. But I mean, Kathy knows much more how much it has grown. But I still kept up with it and would bring, waters for the dances or stuff like that. So I've seen, and then now working here, and I get to be part of the PTO, and that's fabulous. I see it has just grown every year, and I really give a lot of the credit to Kathy, seeing, okay, what can we do for the students this year? What can we add? Like every year there's something added. Last year we did candy bars at testing time, and a couple years ago we added the scholarship for the most service
Volunteer
hours.
And
So
like this year with the senior days.
Senior treat days.
right, the senior treat days.
Those have been, the kids have really liked those. Those have been really nice.
So I think, in my mind, it's just like, it seems like every year you just try to do more, get even better. What else can we do? What else can we do?
I think we're open to several things, and we don't mind trying new things. And like the senior treat days, even the underclassmen are like, "Ooh, we can't wait to be seniors!"
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, when the need comes, it's, when the moment's in front of you, that's whatever it is that needs to happen.
I definitely feel, so for me, from a standpoint of a personal goal with the PTO, every year in my mind, when I kind of look at the calendar at the beginning of the year and all the things that we normally do, I think of like, we wait for the homecoming theme from student government, and when it comes...
Trying to get that out a little earlier. So
Well, when it comes in my mind, I'm like, how can we make it better than last year's homecoming? And then like this year we went from a snowball dance, we went to a masquerade dance. I'm like, how can we make this better than last year? So I have this goal in my mind every year of like, how can we make it better, more memorable, more wow, more anything for the kids to just be like, that was an amazing dance, or wow, that was really cool. So that's my own personal goal with PTO. Whether or not I write it down on paper and we actually talk about it at a meeting, we don't necessarily do that, but you guys kind of know where my brain goes when we have stuff, and I'm just like, so these guys, we're in a group thread, all of the PTO officers, and so sometimes they'll get them at 5:30 in the morning for me if I'm awake, and sometimes it's 11:30 at night. I don't expect a response right then and there, but I have to get the thought out before it evaporates. Or if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I have a running list of notes in my phone. So I just come up with ideas, and these guys are just like, okay, sounds great, let's make it happen. And they go with these ideas, and why I can come up with the idea, I can plan it. I can't necessarily be the person to fully execute the full package of decorations, but I know who I can talk to help organize it and pull it all together. And so yes, so going back to goals, so I think every year when an opportunity presents itself, we are on board. I talked to Mrs. Williams recently about the upcoming, the sign-in day?
the senior signing day,
Yes.
yeah.
And I was like, what can PTO do? It's like, what can we provide? Refreshments, decorations, what can we do? So if we don't come up with the idea ourselves, how can we supplement it and make it amazing? So yes, like Teacher Appreciation Week this week, I'm like, well, what are we gonna do this week that's gonna be better than last year?
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it and excited to, we're already, it's not till May, but I've already been reaching out to people for the last 4 weeks, trying to coordinate and start moving forward with that.
I think one major goal is to find some future replacement.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, actually,
That
yes.
is a very good
That's
point.
our major goal next
That's
year.
a big goal.
Is it for the three of you?
Yes.
Well, except maybe Miss Olmstead.
No, well, yes, but
No,
our my husband and I, our future plans when we're empty nesters
Yes.
involves us not being stationary in Melrose anymore. So
Yes.
that will take me away from many things. But yes, that's a very good point. We definitely need to bring.
We've been trying.
We
and
have been trying. Yeah.
trying to get some people interested, trying to show them how much fun we have doing this. And we have a couple people that are here and there. just trying to really rope them in, trying to get them to really commit. I talked to Mr. Johnson, and he's like, boy, Miss Lotow, what are we going to do? He goes, how much longer do we have here?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, Izzy's a junior, so you have me all of next year still. And he was like, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm like, I'm still going to be around. And he goes, well, he keeps telling me how even though his kids were gone, he continues to volunteer and do basketball. He was like, I think you should do the same thing. And I think you should just stay here for a while. Just go ahead and just make sure you're just going to be here. So I'm not opposed to it. We'll see what happens.
So I will say, from the student government perspective, I love the partnership with PTO and how we do make the dances better every year, but also more efficient.
Yes.
We figure out how to store stuff and what can we buy to make future years easier and more organized, and that's been wonderful. And now with the kids, it's not it's here's the closet. What do you what do you want to do? And it's been a huge help, especially when they're have these pie in the sky dreams. And I'm like, okay, let's bring it back down. How can we use what we have?
Yes.
But you already started down the next question. How can parents get involved with the PTO, and why should they, other than all of the fun that we've just articulated, why should they want to get involved?
So I would like to take this question because I'm new to the PTO. I really just started last year, I think, right?
So she's new, listeners, and this year she designed the iconic feature of homecoming.
Yes.
So we have room for everybody.
Yes.
So I would just like to say that the way I got so involved was I just showed up. I came to help at the luncheon. I just waited to see where I could be helpful, and when I saw that moment, I jumped in and I was helpful. And so I think if you're someone who has some time and you're interested in joining a really, really fun group of, it's women right now, but we can have dads too, that's okay. I have the best time doing these things. We chat and we giggle and we talk and we get things done, and having Kathy steering the ship has been really helpful because she's so organized and it's, there's this clear, definite path, and it just makes everything flow. So I highly recommend it.
I think it's also a good excuse to spy on your kids.
Yeah. That is.
You're I gotta be at the dance. I gotta set up, and you wouldn't even have a dance if it weren't for me. So.
Yep. Yep. And there was this one, I can't even remember what it was, but Sammy did something, and I can't even remember who it was, but somebody mentioned it to me, and so I mentioned it to her, and she's like, how did you know that? I was like, I have spies everywhere.
Or they ask, are you going to be on campus today? Yes.
Yeah. And I think what's important too for the listeners out there is even if you don't have, afternoons free to come set up, but, if you've got the freedom to make phone calls,
Yes.
there's room for those people too to call business, if you like doing that, but, and, you don't have the time to come every day or, have that in your schedule, but, you can take your lunch break and make a few phone calls to local businesses to help out the PTO. There's room for that as well.
You could also help and be involved with the PTO by bringing things in for our luncheon. We're always looking for people to bring in side dishes, even bringing in sodas, bringing in bottled waters. I mean, there's just many ways you can get involved. You don't physically have to come to every meeting. You're not required to pay any money. We have one parent who helped with even designing little, it was called the tassel is worth the hassle.
Oh, the stickers.
The stickers,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Ms. Dussel did that for us. And so, there's just so many ways. And normally our meetings are the fourth Monday of every month. We do it in the media center after school. We try to start promptly at 4 p.m. And we don't ever go past an hour. Sometimes the officers might stay after an hour or so, but as far as the actual meeting itself, we're usually done in about 30 to 45 minutes flat. But there's just a plethora of ways to be involved. We also have a Facebook group, and it's QI Roberts Jr-Sr High School PTO, and it is a private group, so we will post volunteer opportunities there, or we will post pictures of the things that we have done, or we have posted our schedule of what we're doing, or the volunteer things that we need, chaperones, someone to bring in a side dish, someone to help with setting up a balloon arch. So if you have an hour to spare, we will likely say yes to it. If you want to make a salad for one of our luncheons, absolutely, we'll take it on. If you want to come and help with our senior treat day, yes. So there's just so many ways besides actually physically coming and doing something to get involved. And I'm trying to think, we also have a PTO email address, which is qiroberts.pto@gmail.com. So if parents have any questions, they can email us there. But really the best way to see what's happening is to go on our Facebook group, and there's a series of questions that parents would have to fill out, or students, that just ask who you are, so we make sure that it's only people who go to QI that are part of it. And then we would authorize you to be in the group, and then you get to see everything that's happening through the group.
And if I can figure out how to make it work, I'll try to put a link to that in the description for the podcast. So listeners, you can check the podcast description for that. Or I'll try to get it on the Instagram and Facebook posts that go out with this as well, so you could check there. I'm not sure at this moment in time that we're recording when this is going to be published, but March 25th and April 22nd are the next two PTO meetings, listeners. So if you have, as Ms. Lotow said, if you have that time, they would love to see you. All right. So last two questions. I love asking parents and staff, and especially with those of you having students that have been at QI and been really involved at QI. So the first one is, what recommendations would you give to students? We just had the sixth graders on campus. We're soliciting, applications. We'll be welcoming the class of 2030, believe it or not, in the fall. Like, what would you say to those students about QI?
Well, one thing that I would say to any student is get involved. There are so many clubs and organizations here on campus, and I think that getting involved is the best way to just see what you like or what you don't like, meet new people here, find people who are like-minded. Everyone at the school is, for the most part, very welcoming and very open, and so I would tell any incoming students to get involved and then talk to your teachers. I think I tell my kids all the time, like, communicate with them. They want to hear from you, and like if you don't understand something in class, raise your hand. If you still need more explanation, go to them at Power Hour. But I think communication with the teachers is also very key. So those are my two things: be involved, and then have an open line of communication with your teachers.
I would say be involved also, but I'd also say try new things. In elementary school, you're kind of limited on your choices. We have a wide variety of choices. Try something new. If you like it, stick with it. If you don't, find another one. There's something else to do. I mean, we have so many different clubs, organizations, groups, whether it's STEM or band or ag or art. We have plenty of options to choose from.
I would say, and this is coming from my children, watching my children, use that Power Hour time well. Think about how you can time manage, because I think that's pretty unique to other schools. I don't know if I'm correct or not, but to have that whole chunk of time in the middle of your day, so you can socialize a little bit and have your food, and you don't have to rush and get indigestion. But also, when your teachers have their open hours to if you have a question on something or you need clarification on something, it's pretty special that QI does that. So
I recommend, it might be coming somewhat from a staff, but for the kids to, like Ms. Lotow said, speak up for themselves, talk to their teachers, I guess advocate for themselves, but don't rely on mommy and daddy to do it or to tell you what you need to do. Like, when Wiley started here and he had some issue, I'm like, okay, I can, kind of coach you on an email you need to send. I'm not going up there and talking to a teacher. If they say, well, you never came to me about this, you have to figure it out. You need to start. I'm not going to college with you to do. And my kids have both been really good about that. Since I started working here, I kind of just, fill the form out for them because I'm there. And I've kind of been like, oh, okay, y'all need to take over. But I think that's a big deal for these kids to learn. I mean, there's so many that kind of don't know how to do just basic things, and like talking to teachers and talking, you need to do that. And you need to say, hey, I don't understand why I got this grade. Can you go over this with me? I think that's a big.
Well, I think the basic things kind of goes along with the trying new things. Like, you've got 6 years to figure out what organizational scheme works for you. Are you a digital calendar? Are you a physical calendar? Are you, because you don't want to be the I have everything written on my arm person. Like, we have so many better options available. And then I think I would just add with the try new things, and then once you find something, stick with it. Like, make that your thing. You don't need to be involved with everything on campus. If you are in band and want to do ag, do those two things. If you want to fly drones and paint pictures and art, do those two things. Like, you don't feel like to get into college you have to be involved in everything. Pick those couple things that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, that you and your friends like doing, and just do those things. Own them. All right, so the last question I have, and I always like to ask, so QI has a lot of misconceptions around Putnam County and around the community. So what would you say is the biggest misconception about QI and about the students out here?
I don't know what are the misconceptions that are that it's only for the smart I mean, what are I'm guessing here.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that something that it's
like you have to be smart?
You have to be smart.
Or
yeah.
you have to be gifted.
Yeah,
You have to work hard.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, you just have to be able to put yourself out there and do the work. You don't necessarily have to be
the highest
smartest
score
right.
on every test.
And our teachers are so great at pulling what needs to come out of these kids out of them. Mm-hmm. So even if your kid is not, he's not a hard worker, he's not the smartest, he may thrive here. Mm-hmm. This school is really great at getting that out of them, So I think that's a misconception. I also hear, I don't know how it's worded, but stuff about money, like they don't think we have poverty here. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of kids. I mean, it's everywhere. So I have heard, that's where the smart rich kids go. That's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
We're all Title I schools. So.
Exactly. I mean, our kids are from all the areas that the other kids are from, mm-hmm. all of them. So.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, when Sammy was coming here, her 6th grade class, there were a handful of kids that were saying it's too hard, mm-hmm. right? I won't be able to make it there. It's too hard.
Or you're doing work all the time.
Yeah, you're doing work all the time. Yeah.
I have heard that. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of work. No, you just have to be willing to do the work.
Right. It's not any more than it's whatever you put into it is right. what you get out of it. Yeah.
And organize your own time.
Yes.
But you will learn that here. Right. You will learn that here.
Yes. I'm going to put the plug in that I feel so fortunate that both my children are mm-hmm. here. And there is definitely not a school around that's like QI Roberts with mm-hmm. the staff that you have here, the level of patience, the level of flexibility, and just the level of actually caring about the kids yes. and their outcome. it is just so nice to just have that available here and know that when my kids go to school and if I talk to a teacher, it's like, I know that that teacher has my child's best interest at heart. They're not just like, yeah, your kid, yeah, whatever. It's no, I can talk to these teachers and personally have an in-depth conversation about my child and their progress, or where they need more assistance, where they're excelling, and these teachers know, like they know exactly what is happening with my child, and I have found that to be the case with every single teacher that my children have had here. I can have these very personal conversations, and what other school, where can you find that, and so whatever misconceptions there are, parents, I'm just going to say, from someone who's got a senior right now and a junior, I wouldn't want my kids to be anywhere else but here at QI Roberts with the teachers, staff, and administration here.
Well, and you even made the choice. You all are out of county.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a whole nother conversation that I've had to have. But yes, we made the choice. We are.
So, listeners, you don't have to be in Putnam County to come here.
Very true.
These two, at least, a big misconception is no sports. You can't play sports. You go to QI, and Tara and Kathy both have kids that play sports.
Yes.
For PHS.
Mm-hmm.
So it's doable.
It is doable. Again, it's all, like Miss Olmstead said, you get what you put into it. And that's anything, not just school, but that's anything in life, is, the amount of effort you put into it is what you will receive. So.
Especially the Olmsteads with the drum major legacy over there.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
He's amazing.
They're pretty.
Both of them, yeah.
They're pretty cool kids.
Yeah, they are.
There's a lot of pretty cool kids at this school, I gotta say.
We have such a eclectic bunch, and they all seem to just mesh. They all seem to just mesh well. And another thing with the school, it's like, you don't hear about huge behavioral issues.
Yeah,
you don't hear about bullying or fights. I mean, there's just so much of that in other places.
And it does, and this is just going from me watching Sammy, but she has so many different friend groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, she has her band friend group, and then a different friend group here, and then Dungeons and Dragon friend group. Hopefully I'm not giving anything away. Sorry, Sammy. But it's, and they commingle with each other. It's not just, it's not cliquey. It's, and maybe it's because our school is so small that everybody kind of knows everybody. At some point you have a class with, if you're in a grade, and sometimes there's juniors and seniors like mixing a little,
But I've seen that work to the students' advantage too.
Yeah.
Where they're like, especially for me with my math kids, it's like, oh, I'm friends with that senior. They had this class last year. Can you help me? Because I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
Or vice versa. The seniors are like, oh yeah, I remember that was really hard. Let me show you this trick, or let me show you,
Yeah.
Or, lately it's been like, it'll be okay. Like, just keep, stick with it to the end of the year. It'll all be fine.
You can do it. Yeah. Yeah. Sammy got notes from someone 3 years from band, because it's even, the band is even junior high and seniors and high school together too. So, yeah, it's really special. This school is really special in a lot of different ways.
Makes it easy for us to give back to the school, because the school is just so special and so amazing.
Yep.
So awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to share about PTO before we wrap up the podcast today?
Oh, well, one of my favorite things is the PTO shop that we do out of my office at Christmas and Mother's Day. And it was started as a way, Miss Olmstead got a lot of great jewelry for us.
It was
so great. We sell everything for $1, and it was supposed to be, kids can buy something for their mom or grandma or whoever, because they don't have a lot of money. And it's something, most of the time as parents, we know about the gifts our kids are going to buy for us. We have to buy it for them. But so I love it, and the kids love it, and a lot of kids and a lot of staff even buy things for themselves, which is cool. But we take donations, so like gently used items that you might be getting rid of, bring them on to the school, and because they really enjoy that shop.
Things that were gifted to you that maybe it doesn't quite fit you, that you can donate and we can reuse it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things, and I was just thinking about it because Mother's Day's coming up. More donations would be great. I've heard a kid, Kathy was in my office, and a little girl said, "This is so great. I don't have a lot of money, but I can actually buy people gifts." And I was like, "This is what I love about it."
Yes, and that was one of our newer initiatives that we started last year. And then I want to do a little plug-in for Miss Olmstead's collection of dresses. That is one of our newest initiatives this year, which again, it's just, what can we do better from the year before? So we have new initiatives, again, all catered around helping the student body here, all catered towards just giving them more opportunities and just different things here. And so Mrs. Olmstead spearheaded collecting dresses for homecoming or prom. And then we had an amazing previous alumni parent, Mrs. Pickering. She actually went to Marshall's, bought clearance dresses, 8 of them, and then donated a bunch of nail art things so that our students here could go through there and have a dress for any of the dances.
Yep. So Miss Perry's doing that with me. So we're kind of joint effort with that. So it's being stored in the clinic area. So she.
Yes. So we're also, and besides just dresses, we're also looking for men's clothing as well. I donated a bunch of Noah's shirts that he has completely outgrown, but for the middle schoolers and stuff, there's clothes there for nice shirts at least that our students can use. So, I mean, we are again just trying to come up with new ways to just improve things, and so those are just some very exciting initiatives that we've taken on in the last 2 years. So,
This has been amazing. I am a personal thumbs up and favorite of the QI Roberts PTO. And listeners, if you have time to give, if you have money to give, if you have, as we just heard, physical things to give, please consider that. Help support the QI PTO. And thank you to the 4 of you for taking time out of your afternoon to sit down here and record. And hope everybody enjoyed.
Listeners, if you like the podcast, subscribe on your favorite podcast player of choice so you don't miss out on future episodes. And please share with your friends. Until next time, excellence in all endeavors.